History is often viewed as a chaotic succession of empires rising and falling. However, the 8th chapter of Daniel presents these events not as random occurrences, but as a structured sequence leading toward a specific moment of restoration. The vision begins with a series of animal symbols. To ensure the prophecy remains grounded, Gabriel explicitly identifies the first two actors in the drama, providing us with an objective historical baseline. First, Daniel sees a two-horned ram. Gabriel explains that these horns represent the kings of Media and Persia. This ancient coin, bearing the likeness of a Persian ruler, confirms the historical identity of the first power to dominate the region. A male goat arrives from the west, moving so fast its feet don't touch the ground. Gabriel identifies the goat as Greece and its notable horn as its first king. Coins from this era, like this one of Alexander the Great, often depicted the conqueror with horns as a symbol of his power. Because the first two symbols, the ram and the goat, align perfectly with the documented rise of Medo-Persia and Greece, we have a verified starting point for the vision. This historical accuracy provides the foundation for decoding the more complex symbols that follow. Following the division of the Greek Empire, a new power emerges, a little horn that grows exceedingly great. This symbol represents Rome, appearing first in its pagan imperial phase and later in its papal religious phase. In its pagan phase, this power expanded horizontally across the map. It pushed its borders to the south, to the east, and eventually into the glorious land of Palestine, bringing the Mediterranean world under its military control. The vision describes a shift to a vertical expansion, where the little horn challenges heaven itself. This represents a spiritual attack against the Prince of the Host and the ministry of God's heavenly sanctuary. This power cast truth down to the ground by establishing earthly substitutes for heavenly realities. It introduced a counterfeit Sabbath, established a human priesthood to mediate for sins, and replaced the unique sacrifice of Christ with a repetitive earthly system. The little horn's ultimate goal is the systematic replacement of Christ's ongoing work in heaven. By pointing humanity to an earthly system of worship, it obscures the true path to salvation found in the sanctuary above. It is significant that the animals in this chapter are rams and goats, the specific creatures used in the ancient Hebrew sanctuary service. This imagery shifts our focus from mere political history to the theme of true versus false worship. Seeing the little horn's attack on truth, a Holy One in the vision asks how long this period of trampling will last. The answer provided is exactly 2,300 days. Then the sanctuary shall be cleansed. In biblical prophecy, time is often expressed using a day-for-a-year scale, a principle established in texts like Numbers 14 and Ezekiel 4. Following this pattern, the 2,300 days represent 2,300 literal years of history. At the end of Daniel 8, Daniel was overcome and did not yet understand the vision's timing. In the next chapter, Gabriel returns specifically to make him understand. He provides the missing start date, the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem, which history records in 457 BC. I want you to calculate this end date yourself. Pause the video. Take the starting year of 457 BC and add the 2,300 years of the prophecy. Remember to account for the fact that there is no year zero when moving from BC to AD. Moving forward 2,300 years from 457 BC brings us to the year 1844. This date does not mark the end of the world, but rather the prophetic milestone for the sanctuary to be cleansed, a process of restoring the truths that the little horn had obscured. This cleansing refers to the ancient Day of Atonement. In the earthly tabernacle seen here, this was a day of judgment, where the sanctuary was purified from sin, signaling a final restoration of the relationship between God and His people. According to the book of Hebrews, these earthly services were copies of the true heavenly sanctuary. The year 1844 marks the beginning of the final phase of Christ's ministry there, where He acts as our mediator to resolve the problem of sin. Some worry that a period of heavenly judgment might suggest that Christ's work on the cross was incomplete. However, the Bible presents these two events as perfectly connected. The cross was the once-for-all provision of salvation. The heavenly sanctuary ministry is the application of that sacrifice, where Christ unmasks the deceptions of the little horn and applies the benefits of his death to every believer. When we align to symbols, the structure of the vision becomes clear. The ram of Medo-Persia was overtaken by the goat of Greece, which was followed by the dual-phase power of Rome. Each step leads directly to the 1844 timeline. While earthly powers have sought to cast truth to the ground, the 2,300-day prophecy confirms that God's plan is unfolding on schedule. In the heavenly sanctuary, Christ is currently working to vindicate his truth and ensure the final restoration of his kingdom.